Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever video on this channel. Now, in a bit of a celebration of me finally unlocking my first GL. Took me forever, but we made it anyway. I wanted to do a video on how I unlocked Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. I wanted to go through my farming path, who I did first, who I did last, what I did while I was farming the tickets, and then go through each of the mods for each of the tiers I did and show the gameplay, the final completion. Now, they won't be as clean as they probably should be, as you'll see probably in tier 2. I had a little bit of problems, but normally it would go much better for me. Some tips on what you should do during them, and potentially some zetas that I applied that you might not want to, but it is a help, and it will also help you later on in your gameplay. Now, I firstly want to preface by saying that for the purpose of this video, when I speak about tiers 4 to 6 and anything about those tiers at the end, I was able to farm and get my JML ready to have Relic 8 and all 6 Zetas off of spawn. I also had him with all the perfect mods that I wanted. As you can see, he's currently, for me, 528. I just did that in the background while I was farming for the tickets. I started farming the Zetas very far in advance, all the way back for when they had the Zeta drops on Cantina nodes, for if you had Cal Kestis and Jedi and Ahsoka Fulcrum, that sort of time. These clips that you're listening to now are filmed after the update, the big update in which tickets are now only spent if you have a successful completion, which is a lot better than what it was before, in which it was just spent no matter what, because the gameplay you'll see was recorded before that, and I did have to do an extra bit of farming because of the fact that I failed on tier 2 one time. It wasn't a big deal because it's only 30 tickets, but still it made me a little bit further behind than I wanted to be. I also want to give a shout out to a couple things that I use personally to help me with this. The first one being swaggo.gg. It's what I use for most of the mods, apart from probably one, and I'll mention that in a second, but generally they are very good at what mod set you should have for each character. They also give you the gear list, and that's how I was able to get everything ready for JML when I unlocked him. I'll have a clip of me unlocking him at the end. Don't have the one of me gearing him up because I was probably way too excited and spamming it way too quickly. But the other person is Nooch, and I used his R2-D2 modding for tiers 2 and tiers 1. But that's mainly before the tier 2, and I'll speak about that when I get to that. I will include timestamps for everything in this video. So, for example, I won't be speaking about R2 mods in tier 1 because it's so key to the tier 2 section. I want to do a bit more on that there, so you can easily skip back and forth between what you need to help you complete this. So to start off with the farming guide, the first man that you would want to probably work towards in this entire list of 15 would be this man on the screen here, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. I know it's the tier down from him, but the key reason is because not only is he required at Relic 7, it's one of the higher relics that is required for this. I think you need 3 Relic 7s, 2 of them being journey characters. But the reason why he is so good is because if we look through his event here, so there's Commander Luke Skywalker, which does contain a couple people that you also need. So you'll have them relics at 7 stars anyway, that being Old Ben and Princess Leia. You also need, for this, C-3PO at least Relic 3, who is required. Chewbacca at least Relic 3, who is required. You will need the Millennium Falcon, which means you need Han Solo at least Relic 3 as well to make that ship work as it should intend to work in this tier. So that's already there, 3 people that are required, who you'll already have relicked. Hermit Yoda, who is also required, who you will have a Relic 3. And also Lando Calrissian, who is someone who you probably don't ever think about using, other than probably for this event. and also for the requirements for here, JML and also Leia. It's required for both. It's very nice. This another thing is that this event also is very good for if you're working towards Leia as well, because you get Rebel Officer Leia Organa here and Captain Han Solo earlier in the tier. Also in this tier, sorry I didn't mention, is you'll also get Wedge Antilles, who is required. You can have him at any gear level. I have him at Relic 3 because it's obviously what it's required at. And I think I had him at Relic 3 for this event when I did it. But also another good part about this is that it gives you a lot of other good characters as well. You have to have Darth Vader, who is a very good solo for your GAC if you want to do against Geos. Doesn't always work, as I always find out when I do my Grand Arena battles, but a very good character. Also get Wampa, who is also another very good character for GAC because he can solo a lot of early teams. If you're having problems with, say, an Iden team who is on defense, Wampa can easily counter that. It can also counter a lot of the lower GAC teams that it will have on defense when you apply its Omnicron. The only problem with this is that both Hermit Yoda here and the Wampa are only accessible with either Mark II currency or Guild currency, the first type. So it will take you a while to get these, but that can be good because it can help you farm your Kyrotech for Luke, because he is a Kyrotech heavy character, and you will come into a lot of Kyrotech problems probably in this farming because you do have quite a few heavy ones. Obviously, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker being one, the other being Mon Mothma, who I'll speak about in a minute. But the other journey guide you will have to do at Relic 7 is Rey Jedi Training. I left her till about last because it was so out of the way for me. As you can see, these are what I did this event with. Not very good levels on the character. I think they were all about Gear 9. They did have full mod sets, but I've since moved them to other people because I didn't need them. And obviously for this one, you also do need BB-8. Now, I bought the Lightspeed bundle, so this is not what I actually did the event with. I think they were all about the same level as my Rey Jedi Training characters. But I, for this one, used Hux, KRU, Sith Trooper, First Order Stormtrooper, and Kylo Ren, just the regular version. It's only because Sith Trooper and First Order are on the same node, so it's a little bit quicker to farm that way. And also KRU does get his ship on his Cantina node, and so that's a bit quicker that way as well. As to who I would leave last on the farming path, Mon Mothma will be one of them because she is one of the most expensive Kyrotech characters in the game. And for you not having a use for her coming out of this farming path, obviously if you're a bigger account that has a few more characters on it, and this is maybe not your first GL, you probably will have some of the characters farmed up to have a good Mon Mothma team off getting her, so you might want to do her earlier. But if this is your first Galactic Legend and maybe you don't have a very sizable roster or you're rushing this, I would say leave Mon Mothma till either last or the last 3, just because you will not get any use out of her. She really shines when you have people like Pow, Half Rebel Soldier, Cassian, Baze, and if you're a big account, obviously you could have Luthen. Luthen would be very, very good with him, but it's a conquest character, and that is a very far away thing, even for me. The other person would probably be Big Starklighter, who isn't really useful in this game at all. He's only good for his ship, but obviously you can technically, if you would want to, have a Mon Mothma team with Biggs, Wedge, and a couple other Rebel fighters to start this off, but it wouldn't be a very good team. And also Princess Leia. She isn't really used anywhere in this game apart from tier 2 in this event, and it's probably because she's not a very good character. She can work well with an R2-D2, and I'll show you why when we get to the tier 2 gameplay, but other than that, she's not really very useful in this game. Now, with the ticket farming, this will probably take up quite a lot of time for you, because you do have to, in total, to complete tiers 1 to 6 with getting your ultimate, you do have to get about 1,200 tickets. And I know that does sound like a lot, but you'll probably get around 40 to 50 each day if you're doing all your energy refreshes, you're only doing light side nodes, and you're maybe getting your energy off the web store. I know now you also get the Kessel Run stuff, which if you just log in, you'll get an extra 100 normal mode energy per day. That's to make it go a little bit quicker. And the main node you probably want to farm is this one, 7B, because you firstly get your Shock Prod Kairos, which are an amazing thing to have, because so many characters now require them. And they're probably better to farm, in general, they're better to farm than the computer nodes, because you also have these. Now they don't look like much, but these are actually used to get your bronzium wiring, which is a bit of a bottleneck when it comes to most of this. As you can see here, I have 700, which is a lot more than anything else here. They give 10 per, which is a very big thing. For example, if I was now to give all of them, 157, just like that. And that makes another one of the bottlenecks of this game a lot easier to deal with. So next we will move on to the mods, the modding for tier 1. How I will do it is I will show the modding and then the gameplay. So you don't have to wait until I do all of the modding for the tiers to then watch and see how it actually works. It makes it a bit more easier to follow along and understand. As I said in the intro, I will not be showing the R2-D2 mods for this, because I don't think it matters as much here as it does in tier 2. And so I will go into that more in depth on tier 2 and in the gameplay for that. Firstly though, I will show you my Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker modding. And the key thing to notice when I go in here is that his speed isn't very good. It's probably not what you would want when you use him with your JML. I need to definitely improve on him. But the main reason for this is because his leadership will reduce everyone else's speed down to his level as well, his base speed. Obviously you won't get that effect when you use him with JML, but for now, in this event, this is how it works. So technically you would actually want a lower speed, because everyone else will be brought down to that level. The other key area you want to look at is physical offense. Now, mine isn't exactly 10,000, but that's about where you want it to get to, 10,000 or more. It's not as prevalent in this encounter, but in tier 3, when we do the Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine one, you'll see why that's more required there. For the stats, I have a 32 speed here. You mainly want speed on the arrow mods, apart from a couple, and very certain circumstances, with a crit damage here, a tenacity. That's more for tier 3. It's just so when we do tier 3, the dots aren't as prevalent. A protection one here. I know I said I don't have good speed, but I do have a 25 speed here. Don't know why, but yes. And then obviously a defense and offense here. With Chewbacca, I have him as a full tenacity set. This is mainly for the GAC, but it works well here. I didn't have to change anything, and that's mainly because when we use him in the second part of the tier 1, that encounter is very easy. Once again, I actually have him with defense. I think that might be because I don't have a speed set for him here, so I will need to change that. I would say for anyone else watching this, have a speed set here. It's just my idiotic self not having one. I have offense, health. You don't need the tenacity on the cross, because you have so much extra tenacity on this mod set anyway. Protection, and these two are obvious. I have him at 228 speed. Speed again doesn't really matter too much for this encounter, because you'll always have the hand shoots first. He'll always, and Chewbacca will always assist when Han takes a turn. So realistically, you can probably beat the tier 1 second encounter with about 2 turns for each character, and you'll see that in the gameplay. With Han Solo, that is said, I have him with a crit chance, crit damage multiplier. Just because we want him to be doing the bulk of the damage. I have him at 261 speed because even though he will get his hand shoots first, and that is one of the Zetas you definitely want to have, this is a very, very good Zeta, not only for this and for the later tiers, but also in general use. When you're using him in, say, Conquest or for GAC, this is a very, very useful Zeta to have, just because you get to go first and you can stun whoever you want unless they resist stuns, and you also get more counter chance, which works in the CLS team. But I have him with speed, crit damage, defense, which I don't think is correct, but as you can see, it doesn't really matter for this. Maybe put on a tenacity, or an offense mod would probably be the best here. I think I just have him on defense because it has good speed here. Protection, and the rest is self-explanatory. Finally, with Lando, this is the same mod set I used for the Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker event. It's a crit damage, crit chance mod set, and this is mainly because his AoE special that he has is really only what you want to use with him, just because the more critical chances you hit, it will do more damage on the next turn you use it, and it also resets its cooldowns. So you can sort of just spam these, and it does pretty good damage for what it is. Once again, I have speed here, health, offense, protection, and the regular 2 here. With this one, this isn't what I actually used. I have since moved his mod for this over to someone else, so I just sort of put one in here so you can see what each one would be. Okay, and so we are now moving into the gameplay of the first tier. Now, with this, there is one key thing that you need to remember. For me personally, my R2-D2 is faster than my Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, so I'll stealth him off the start. But the main thing is, with this encounter and with tier 3 later, you never want to use the mass stun. It's just pretty much useless in this, because the main reason you want him, Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, to have good offense is because you want him to always have his Jedi Knight's resolve or his counter chance special one active at all times. That is just because it means he can counter chance. He has 100% counter chance, and he can and because his basic always dispels taunts or any buffs, it just means it makes this encounter go a lot quicker. With in this clip, you will see eventually my R2-D2 will die. Now that was just an unlucky one on this one, but it actually doesn't matter. Luckily, with this event, in all the tiers that there are more than one person, it doesn't actually matter if anyone dies. I know this isn't the case for some, like in the Lord Vader event with the Count Dooku tier. If Obi-Wan does die, it's a fail, and that is probably going to be annoying when I get there. It's going to be a long time because I don't really want to do Lord Vader anytime soon. Now, these do have quite a bit of max health, and that is the most annoying part of this, especially since they will, especially the Jabba's spy here. He is going to be the one that takes the longest to kill because he does gain health back a lot. And so it will take you a bit of time to do this one, but as you can see in the gameplay now, it's basically counter attacks that will be your main source of damage. And I'm going to skip ahead here to the second encounter, but this is basically what you're doing for the entire thing. If you have the special one, you use it. If you don't, just use basic, and you will get through this with no problem. Moving on to the second encounter of this, you are actually given Han, Chewie, and Lando. Now, for this encounter, it's a lot easier because you only have to kill Boba Fett. And that isn't a problem because obviously off the bat you can use your Hound Shoot first ability to target anyone on the encounter. That includes ignoring Taunt. And even though these do have Taunt at the start, they will all take a turn anyway and lose it. So it only affects your second turn with Han and your first turn with Chewbacca. So me personally, I would use the second special for Han because you don't really want to wait. You won't want to waste your first special without it targeting Boba. And with Chewbacca, he only has his basic, so you just use that. With Lando, you always want to be using the special because it's a lot more damage to the whole team. It will probably do more damage than his basic, and also while these two are still taunting, it means I can damage Boba Fett. As you can see now, these two tanks will take their turn. The taunt is off, and it is basically just as much damage to Boba Fett as possible. And there you go. It literally took 2 turns for Chewbacca and Lando, 4 turns for Han because he has the bonus turn stuff embedded in his kit, and that's over. And you'll get a lovely little cutscene at the end of each one where Boba falls into the Sarlacc pit. And yeah, that is your tier 1 completion done. So, congratulations, you have now completed your first go at tier 1. And you're moving on to tier 2. This is probably what I would say is the most challenging of the 3. Just because, for me personally, it required some different modding that I was not expecting for this encounter. And this is the main reason, is the R2-D2 modding. Now, with R2-D2 in this encounter, you want to make him basically your substitute tank in this. You would want to keep him the only one out of stealth for most of this encounter. And you also want to utilize the numbers crunch data here, which gives max protection, offense, health and potency to all your other allies during this encounter. Now, how I modded this, and this was taken, again I will say this was taken from the Nooch 2 Good video that I watched previously to this. The main areas you want to look at probably are your max health, which is why I have a full health set here, because it's giving the max health to everyone else in this encounter as well, but also the critical avoidance. I'm mainly getting this from a critical avoidance arrow set, and this is because you don't really want anyone else to be getting hit during this, and because you're making your R2-D2 so chunky, he can sort of eat up a lot of those hits. So people like Han Solo and Leia, who are going to be your main damage dealers in this encounter, they can sort of get rolling. Leia can stay under stealth and use her ability while under stealth, meaning she gets stuff like critical damage up and everything. But you also want him to be able to stay alive. And the other problem with this encounter is some of the stormtroopers do throw a lot of explosives at you, which is why I have a tenacity set here. Now my tenacity for this is at 83%. I'd probably say anywhere from 80% upwards is good, because it will allow him to reject a lot of those explosives that will be thrown at you during this encounter. I also have a defense set here and a protection set here. I chose protection here because you're already getting a lot more max health from the sets, so it's probably good to have some protection as well, because you'll be giving that out to your allies as well. The reason I have him being so fast, he's my fastest character in this entire video, is because the more turns you get with him, the more you'll be able to throw out stealth to everyone else, and that will benefit your Princess Leia. Next is with C-3PO, and before I will go into the mods, I will say there is a Zeta that I found was a lot more help than I thought it would be. I didn't have it applied to start off with, and it's this one, the Wait For Me Zeta. This isn't a very good Zeta for everything else, but for this encounter it is very good, and that is because you start off with translation on both C-3PO and R2-D2 for each of the 3 encounters that you do. Now what this does is it allows both of those characters to have 30% max health straight away in each encounter. And if we think about how we've modded for R2-D2 and how we're going to have him as the de facto tank in this encounter, more max health is always good. So it was something I didn't have at the start, but doing it was a very good idea for me personally. I also have him here with a speed and potency set. Potency is so he can inflict confuse on everyone, and so it's mainly so you can stop the tank stormtroopers taunting, so you can take out the scout troopers, and speed is so you can get more of the big mass assists with oh my goodness. I have speed here, defense, more potency here, protection, and I got him to 108% potency. I'd once again say maybe 80% and higher is good enough for this, and it will work perfectly for what you're trying to do. Sorry for the jump cut there. I realised I didn't actually have mods on Leia, and obviously I want to show you what I used for everything, so I just applied some now. So it's not going to be the exact stats that I used, but it will still be the sets I used and what main area each mod was in. The big thing in this encounter with Princess Leia is the Rebel Tactics thing here, and this is because if you have your R2-D2 faster than her, he will always take a turn first, meaning when she will already be in stealth when she has this, which means she'll gain offense up and gain double turn meter every time you do this. And obviously that is better with this because she can attack about 2 to 4 times in a turn, dealing big damage, which is why I also went here for the crit chance crit damage mod set. I've gone for speed here, crit damage, offense and protection. Once again, you want to make her sort of the same as Han, a big damage dealer for this encounter, because when it gets to the later tiers of this, you'll have a lot of chunky enemies to go through. The chunky Stormtrooper tank enemies are quite hard to get through, and also the Stormtrooper Commander in the final one, you kind of want to blitz him out as soon as possible. So having more damage in Princess Leia and Han is very good for this. And we are now moving on to the Tier 2 gameplay of this. So in this one you will also see that I did have a bit of a mare. A lot of people did die. But mainly who you want to target first in this are the scout troopers. That's just because they are a bit more annoying to deal with than the stormtroopers. And as you can see there, you always want to keep R2-D2 out of stealth. He is going to be your main tank for this encounter. The person you always want to keep in stealth is your Princess Leia, and I'll show you why in just a second when she gets her special. You always want to use special 1 when you have it, and that means she gets a lot more damage. Since she has her offense up, she just can take, she will do double damage most likely, and because she has the chance to assist a lot more, as you see here, it will just make this go a lot quicker. With your R2-D2, it's also great to have maybe have high potency on him as well, so you can get the stuns down. But the main thing you want to do with C-3PO in this is to get translation on everyone. You can get that by either doing the mass assist and giving it to someone, or just by using your special abilities. This is because it will eventually, as you build up the stacks, reduce their cooldowns, give them the more max health, and it will just make them better. As you see there, I saved the second special, or the Leia special, until I get her under stealth, just because it means I'll be doing more damage with her. As you can see there. I don't firstly think I use in this clip the Han second special, the one where he gives evasion up and critical chance. That's probably a mistake because as you can see here, he is about to die, and there he goes. That is absolutely fine. Realistically, you only want Leia and maybe R2 and 3PO to survive until the final encounter. They will do perfectly well with chunking everyone down. In this part, I prefer to target the Stormtrooper Commander first, and whenever you're using Wicket, you always want to probably call Leia to assist, especially if she's under stealth, because you know she'll still have the benefit and she will do a lot of damage. It's quite unfortunate that she's never used anywhere else in this, because this does showcase this whole tier showcases that if she was ever meta and she can be used, you know, well, she will be a big damage dealer for your team. I do think I lose R2-D2 here as well, which is unfortunate. This was just a very unlucky run. In my second completion of this, I did have everyone survive, so that's a little bit of RNG, but you can easily make it through with everyone surviving. And there we go. There is your tier 2 completion. The tier 3 modding here is a lot more simple than the previous two, and that is because I've already shown you what you will probably need in tier 1. This is where the modding for that mainly comes into play here though, because of the offense and the tenacity. You obviously want to have the tenacity modifier here because of the fact that with the way that Darth Vader works, he'll have his Zetas on, so you don't want to get any dots on you, because he will keep healing up once he does his Force Crush ability, and it makes it a bit more difficult for you to be able to get his health down. He does have quite a bit of health, and that's why you want the offense as well. But once you get to the Emperor Palpatine half of this, it shouldn't be as bad. He's a bit easier to get through. You just don't want to get shock applied to you, so it sort of works in both ways. But other than that, this part is exactly the same as your tier 1 modding. It's quite nice that this modding is the same for tier 1, for tier 2 and tier 3 for all the characters, because it means you don't have to chop and change anything, and it also means that you can keep the same for maybe when you did your Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker event. And finally, we come to tier 3, the final tier you may have until you unlock your Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. Now, this is a pretty simple tier because you just have 2 encounters. You have one, it's just a 1v1 against Darth Vader, and you are given Luke Skywalker's leadership. If I can pause it in the right place, you're given his leadership ability, the Jedi Knight's Resolve. I still can't pause it in the right place, but that's fine. And it's the same premise as your previous tier 1. You always want to have his special 1-up as much as possible. It's a bit easier in this because you can take more bonus turns by having the leadership ability as well. And it's mainly just chunking him down. The ability blocks will be annoying, and that's one of the things my tenacity set was hopefully meant to stop, but obviously not. And also the dots that he applies here. It still honestly wasn't enough for him to beat me, so it's fine. And then you come to the second tier, which is against Emperor Palpatine. Now this is maybe the only part of this entire event where it is okay to use the stun, and you'll see me use it there. That's just because it does help a bit with getting all of your specials off. You'll have all your cooldowns probably reset by this point, and so it will make it a lot easier to get all of your damage off. And as you can see there, it didn't take too much for me to actually beat him, and you get another lovely little cutscene at the end of this where, you know, Anakin Skywalker comes back. It's an amazing part in the movie, and it looks good here, which is nice. And that is your tier 3 completion, and maybe even your Jedi Master Luke Skywalker unlocked, just like mine was at the end of this clip, which I will show you in a second. And there you have it. If you have followed this guide and been able to do it like me, you will now have your Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. This is a quick little bit about tiers 4 to 6. Tiers 4 to 6 are actually very easy. That might be just because I had him at Relic 8 straight away, and I'll do a battle for you now. It doesn't take too long, because obviously you are given the ultimate no matter what. You want to hit that straight away, and then it's pretty much, I normally do the second special there. I'll normally give him Grandmaster's or Master's training, and then it's pretty much you just pass around the Jedi lessons or the inherited teachings to everyone, and he pretty much dies without taking a turn. That makes it a lot easier. It's very quick. Once they add simming to this, which I think they will be doing soon, I thought it was coming with the ticket changes, but it's obviously not. You only really have to do this once, and then you can just sim it, and it will make it so much quicker because you don't have to play through that and watch the cutscenes at the start and end. And there you have it. If you have made it to this point, you will either have unlocked your JML and are maybe on the way to getting your ultimate, or you have your ultimate now and you have a fully complete Jedi Master Luke Skywalker who you can use in anything. I'm currently finding him as a very useful person to have in your conquest because it allows you to have, because he's a tank and he has a lot of taunting, it means you can take your lower gear, newer characters from the marquees that are always required, and you can sort of have them in the background. If you need to get kills with them, his Legends of the Jedi stuff that gives you inherited teachings, if they're light side, it means you can get kills with them easily because it's based off of Luke Skywalker's max protection. Now, I will show you what I have him, as mods, and as you can see here, it is 4 speed and 2 health, and the main thing I have is that it's all protection. This is because his inherited teachings is based off of 60% of his max protection. So as you can see here, I have him at 108,000. Once I hopefully get him to Relic 9, that will increase by about maybe 30 or 40,000. And that means at the moment, whenever I call someone into assist, mainly it will be my Hermit Yoda because he will also heal health and protection at the same time. He's doing about 60,000 damage, which isn't like avoidable either. It's guaranteed damage, and it does chunk through people a lot. And yeah, that is the Jedi Master Luke Skywalker farming guide and event guide for 2024. Please leave down in the comments anything you would like to see. I am currently working towards, I'll give you a little account showcase as well. I'm currently working towards the Gungans. That's my next thing because of how good they are in normal gameplay and also in the raid. So when I eventually get to there, I might make another video on that. If you want to see that, please let me know. I'm also, as you can see, working towards Jedi Knight Revan because he's a perfect addition to the Jedi Master Luke Skywalker team. Another person I will work towards in the future is Cal Kestis because he's another person who he's the character that will really lift this team to be its perfect sort of ability that it should be. Like, it will make it a top tier team for you. So yes, please leave down in the comments if there's anything you'd like to see. I could either do my GAC recordings for each round and release that at the end. I could show you a weekly farming update or how my account's going. I could record my conquest, my territory battles, or anything anyone would like to see. Please let me know. And yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.